Los Fresnos Volunteer Fire Department was formed in 1948 after a devastating fire at the Tandy Cotton Gin. Community leaders were no longer going to rely on surrounding towns for fire protection.
I joined in 1956. Well, it was just a little hustling little community, and everybody tried to pull together. We had most of the businessmen in Los Fresnos were members. And I moved into town in 55 and wanted to join the department, but never had the guts to go over to the fire station. And finally I was asked if I wanted to join the fire department. So I went over, and of course it's kind of like it is everywhere in the fire department, I guess, volunteer. If you went, you were accepted and voted in. And that's how my career started as a volunteer fire department. Our procedure was we reported to the fire station, and our chief was definitely, which was Jake Royal, was definitely against people jumping in their automobiles and following the fire trucks. So we reported to the station, and then we went to the fire, and of course we had our fire hats and our bunkers, and we were supposed to have all of them on when we hit the fire, but sometimes through the excitement we didn't. The worst part about going to the fire that I ever had was trying to keep, my right foot from shaking. It's the one that stood on the accelerator. And it was just hard to keep that truck. We ran wide open, which wasn't very fast, but we were wide open. Well, first we would ask if it was a property owner calling, because in them days we were short of funds, and we didn't go just because somebody called in a fire. We found out if it was the landowner or someone's house in danger, and then we went. And when we got there, we had all kinds of means to fight them. We had flappers, tow sacks, and of course the water on the trucks. We didn't have a truck we could drive and pump at the same time, so we used the red lines. And we didn't like to pull all them red lines in because we didn't have electric reels. When you got through with a fire, you had to crank all them up and clean them hoses up. And the cleaning was bad enough, but the cranking was worse. So that's about the way we took care of grass fires. When I was in the fire department, we always set aside one day, and we had open house. And the kids would come and play, and we'd take them for rides, and have a little weenie roast or hamburgers, whatever the deal was for food. And the whole community, I think they enjoyed it very much.
I joined the department in the early 60s until late 70s or early 80s. I'm not exactly sure when. And we had 4 or 5 fire phones stationed throughout the city at various members' houses. And when the call would come in to those fire phones, whoever answered would determine whether it was a good call or not. And if it was a good call, then they in turn would press the button which would ring the siren at the fire station. And the fireman would go to the fire station and answer the phone in the fire station, and then the person that answered the phone originally would then convey the location and would say, okay, we've got enough people to roll, or if we didn't have enough people to roll, we'd say, stay on the button. And we were really short on daytime firemen. A lot of times I remember I just pulled down a door in the front of my shop and took off for the fire station. I had a phone in my shop also. And there was another old gentleman that lived around this area that was retired, and he was almost always in my shop keeping me company. His name was Paul German. He was also a member of the fire department. And I remember many fires we went on that it was just Paul and myself. And this particular truck that we used for grass fires had a platform on the front of it with a railing to hold on to. And I would drive the truck and Paul would get on that platform and we'd go tearing out through the brush on fire, and a lot of times I singed his hair, I know, but that's the way we did it.
I joined the department in 1982, and I stayed in until we moved out of this area in 1985. If we hadn't moved, I might still be in today. Well, we had a fire phone in our house, and when it would ring during the day, I would answer it, and I could stand there till I had a dent in the end of my thumb ringing the alarm because there was a shortage of men in town to fight fires. So I decided that if I ever needed the fire department, I wanted to know that somebody was coming. So I decided to join the department, and I talked about 5 other women into joining the department with me. Well, when we first tried to get in the department, they weren't real enthusiastic about having women in the fire department. But we did eventually prove to them that we were there and we were serious about being there. The training, my husband trained me on how to drive a fire truck, and it was very extensive. I had to learn how not just to drive it, but how to draft it out of the resaca to fill the tank, how to hook it up to a fire hydrant to pump off of it, how to pump. He was going to make sure that if I needed to drive that truck, there weren't going to be any mistakes. And pretty much we trained real extensively on truck operations because that was the big thing. If we needed extra firefighters, we had them at the high school, but because of their age, they couldn't drive the trucks. So there had to be somebody in town to drive the fire truck.
I started in 1978 till present. My dad was in the department for as long as I could ever remember, and I just thought it was kind of neat being around fire trucks and the fire station, and he was chief for a period of time, and I always thought I wanted to be, and that's why I did it. The worst, I think, it seemed to stick in your mind better than the good ones. We had just gotten the JAWS, and at that time South Padre Island didn't have any. My wife and I had just gotten in from being on the island, out eating dinner and whatever. They called and there was an accident on the top of the causeway. Somebody had gone on the causeway the wrong way and it was a head-on. At the time, I think Bob Middleton was chief then, so it was fairly early on, I think. When we rode in the same vehicle, Bob and I, we met the fire trucks there, I believe. When we got there, all we could see was a hole in the dash. The dashboard had folded up over the driver, and you could see through a hole about 6 inches. You could see somebody's eye looking at you. So with very little training, it started from there, and we learned a lot in a short period of time. Any fire that you go to that you save somebody's property or life is memorable.
at the same location we were, standing in the road. Are you doing something with the pressure, or are we out of water? Just ran out of water, Richard. 10-4. Definitely. Well, he's as far as almost up to you there, Richard. If we can get out and fill up, we can come back and get hot spots.
Well, the one that I'll never forget was we had a dwelling south of Highway 100. And it was a two-story dwelling, apartment building, and it caught fire, and there was a little kid trapped on the top floor. And we got the call, and we rescued the little boy, but unfortunately, it was too late, and we had donations and flew him to Galveston to the burn hospital, but he passed away while he was there. That was one of the worst, and the one that sticks in my memory the longest.
The protection and safety of children has always occupied a special place in the hearts of firefighters. Open houses, the education of the public, and reaching out to the school children consistently has been an important part of the Los Fresnos Volunteer Fire Department mission. Over the years, the department has touched the lives of many children.
Make a line and back at them, or no?
Probably. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. That'll be all right for the little one. Is that both pre-K?
Good morning. My name is Sheldon, and I'm the fire marshal for the city of Los Fresnos. And we're with the Los Fresnos Volunteer Fire Department, and I have a couple of my firemen with me here today. I've got firefighter Jason and firefighter Jarrett, and we're here to talk to you about fire prevention. When the truck stops in front of your house and there's a fire, this fireman is going to come out. Okay, can you see this? He's got the fire hose. Trae la manguera para apagar la lumbre del incendio. And then he's got the mask. Trae la máscara para respirar aire, porque el humo es la que mata a la gente. So he's got to have a mask to breathe air, like what you're breathing right now. It's the same air he's breathing, but if he goes inside a fire, this is going to protect him. Because smoke is what kills people. El humo es lo que mata a la persona, porque es muy venenoso. Smoke is very poisonous, and it kills people, so he's got to wear all this. He's got a helmet to protect his head, and then he's got gloves to protect his hands. Here, let me have this. He's got gloves to protect his hands, and then he's got this thing to protect him from the fire. This thing will burn. Esta ropa sí se quema, nomás para protegerlo del incendio. Turn around. And then he's got a tank. This is what he's breathing from. That mask he's got up front, he's taking air out of this bottle to breathe, because if you were to go inside a smoke-filled house, una casa que está lleno de humo, no puede respirar porque se puede morir, so trae este aire. Go ahead and turn around, take your mask off. Ves? And then he's got this on his head to protect his ears and his hair, because if he were to go inside a house fire, without that, his ears would start to burn. They'd go and then they'd get real red and they'll blister up and burn. Si no traía esta cosa en la cabeza, se le quemaban las orejas, los oídos. Take it off. No le tienen miedo, ¿verdad? You're not afraid of him? All right, take your tank off and stuff. Let him see you take it off, and then you're done. This is very heavy. What he has on weighs about 65 pounds. That's more than some of you guys. Es lo que trae este, pesa 65 libras. Okay. Okay, let's give Jared a big hand here. You can leave the tank there. Leave it there. We'll get it later. He says, if you have a house fire and all of a sudden you see this fireman coming into your house, don't be afraid of him, because he's there to help you. He's there to put your fire out in the house. So make sure you're not afraid of him. Sometimes your mom and dad barbecues, right? and they have a grill, they're cooking chicken or something like that, and all of a sudden Ivan is looking up at the tree or an airplane going by. And sometimes the wind picks up and fire comes out of the grill and catches his clothes on fire. Can you scream, Ivan? Loud, loud, loud.
Ah!
Okay, very good. That's what it's going to sound like, but can you all scream for Ivan? Very good. When your clothes catch on fire, you don't run around. Go ahead and scream, Ivan. You don't run around back and forth going, ah, I'm on fire, I'm on fire. The more you run, the more your clothes burn. And then his hair is going to catch on fire and burn, his shirt's going to catch on fire, and you can't put it out, you can't reach the fire back there. So what you do is you stop, okay? You drop. Don't throw yourself on the ground because you might knock yourself out. So you drop and then you roll. But when you roll, you got to cover your face like this in case you have fire on your back or if your hair's on fire. When you start rolling, you don't get fire on your face. So let's stop, drop, go ahead and drop. Lay on the blanket, okay, roll. Keep going, stop, okay, come back this way. You got to keep rolling till the fire is out. All right, let's give Ivan a big hand here.
With the arrival of the 50th anniversary of the Los Fresnos Volunteer Fire Department, firefighters from several eras got together to look at pictures, swap stories, and talk about the progress that has been made during the department's first half-century. The changes have been remarkable.
The main deal is on the trucks. They have electric reels and communications, which we didn't have radios. And that's a big item right there. And other than that, I don't know. We were always short of fire hose, but I think we're in good shape nowadays.
Technologically, there's absolutely no comparison to what the department is now as to what it was back in the 50s and 60s and 70s. Now they have radios and telephone, tanker trucks to carry the water, portable pumps, generators, blowers, and a heck of a lot more people than what we ever had.
Well, I think it's like a family in a lot of ways, in that the longer that you're there, the more personalities that you know. You go through some experiences together, some of them real good and funny, and some of them kind of tragic and frightening. But all the way you feel like you're accomplishing something good. In the department, like a family, sometimes we'll bicker. I mean, we'll argue about the color of a truck, or whether we should buy this, or whether we're spending too much money on that, or whether people are coming to the fires properly or too fast, or coming directly in their personal vehicles, all those kinds of things. And so we'll wrangle that through, but in the end we pull together, and sometimes feathers get ruffled a little bit, but most of the time we're real happy and comfortable.
There weren't any real big significant things. We had radios in the trucks. Now everybody seems like has a radio, or at least access to one. The communication wasn't always clear, but we were able to at least talk to dispatch in town if we needed help. I don't think they had that well of communication when I first got in the department.
That has changed a lot from when I started. I don't think we don't have any trucks that we had back when I first started. Somewhere along the line in that 20 years, the Emergency Services District started, and we were able to get some funding for fighting rural fires, county fires. That's where most of our monies come from to purchase the equipment that we have. I don't know of many state-of-the-art pieces of equipment that we don't have. Again, we do this volunteer basis. If we can get the best equipment, it's less time that we have to spend here. The less time we spend here, the more time we have at home or at work, in a lot of cases. Anywhere from the trucks to the Scott air packs that we use, self-contained breathing apparatus. There's nothing, no comparison from old to today.